Hey guys, today for your assignment, you are going to begin writing your first paragraph for your 9/11 piece. And what I wanted to do was walk you through how you're going to start this thing off with a hook, also known as a lead. Now, if you've ever gone fishing before, or if you know anything about fishing, you realize that in order to catch a fish properly, you better have a hook on the end of your line, because once you throw that line out in the water, you don't have a hook on the end of it, you're not going to be very successful. And I bring that up because I love to compare it to writing. And I say that because if you start off a piece of writing and you don't hook your reader, they aren't going to want to continue reading. They're going to be bored. They're going to want to put it away, put it aside, and just not continue. Now, I'm kind of in a bad situation because I have to read all of your writing. I have to read all of my students' writing, but I want to be entertained. I want to be engaged. I want you to get me from the beginning and make me be very interested in seeing what you're writing about. Something else to keep in mind is that you should never say anything closely related to, "I'm going to tell you about such and such." You should not use anything closely related to that, because we already know that your paper or your paragraph is going to tell us about something. So please avoid saying things like, "My paper is going to be about this," or "I'm going to tell you about that." We've got to be way more creative. So this paper right here, or this slideshow, has 6 different ways for you to do just that. The first one is called a dialogue lead. This is where you're going to actually lead off with some dialogue from some characters. It can be made up. It can be from real characters. Each one of these slides gives you a boring option. It also gives you a better option. I'm going to encourage you to read through all of them. For example, this one right here says, "There was a bat in our house last summer." Now listen, I'm interested. If I heard that you had a bat in your house, I'd want to read about that, but it's kind of boring. And you want to start off with something better, like, "Quick, hit the floor," my dad yelled. "Whatever you do, don't look up," my mother added as I dropped to the floor and slid myself under my bed. It was a terrifying night for my family when we discovered a bat in our house. Now that's basically saying the same thing, that there is going to be a bat that was in my house and I want you to read about it, but look at which one was way more creative, one that added some dialogue in there. Another option is onomatopoeia, throwing in a sound effect. You can be really, really boring here with, like, "There was a loud storm outside my house." Now, we've all been through storms and stuff, but you want to avoid that. You don't want to say, "I'm going to tell you about a storm that occurred." How about this option? "Smash! The window cracked. The wind howled. The door flung open. Rain poured in through the screen, drenching the welcome mat inside our house. I will never forget the fierce storm that invaded my house last night." Again, that is way more interesting, and I want to read about that storm. A third option, an action lead. Get the reader involved with some action. If you told me you were excited for your birthday party, kind of boring. Better yet, if the writer says, "I threw on my favorite red dress and scrambled down the stairs as fast as I could. It was my 8th birthday and I couldn't wait for the party to begin." Guys, that is such a much better lead. A fourth one, we've got the snapshot setting lead. This is where, just like every good reader, they should be able to visualize what they're reading. Draw them in. Don't start off with something like, "Ice skating is my favorite sport." This write-up right here is so much better. It says it's 10 degrees below zero. The river is frozen a foot thick. It makes snapping sounds like the limbs of a tree cracking. A lone figure glides along the black ice, moving toward the city. The only sound is the scraping of each blade as it bites into the river. That's me doing my favorite sport, ice skating. Now, I'll be honest with you, that's a really, really advanced, kind of longer introduction, but it's a lot better than saying, "Ice skating is my favorite sport." A fifth option, we've got asking questions. Students do a pretty good job with this. You can lead off with some sort of a question. It's also called a rhetorical question, in that you aren't really going to have your reader walk up to you and answer you, but it makes them think about that question in their mind. A boring way is, in this story, I will tell you about playing football with my friends. Again, we want to avoid that at all costs. I do not want to read that at all from anybody. But this one was a little bit better with asking a question like, in what sport can you tackle opponents, catch 30-yard touchdown passes in overtime, and sack the quarterback before he can even complete a pass? Now, again, I'm not going to read the whole thing there, but it's engaging me by making me think about that. And the last one we have is a flashback lead. This is where the reader is taken back to a specific event. A boring option, and I remember the time when I won the game for my team. There's such a better way to do it. Now, this one is a real vivid description. I could feel the sweat pouring off my body as I watched the seconds tick off the clock, and so on. So listen, I'm not going to read that whole thing there, but guys, what we've got here are much better